late for all that.
I know I should have done it. Next week I'm going to go.
Camera.
Done anything else?
Boy, am I jealous. That hat looks awful good, I gotta tell you. When you're, listen, I don't think you got the same problem I do. Irish and old with no hair.
Oh, I'm trying to grow it again.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work?
It doesn't
I'm trying to grow it a little bit.
That doesn't help.
Welcome to the South. Oh man, I'm going back. I'm back.
We have our mark. How about I take it on Mariano?
You guys ready? Yep. Got it?
Got it. Yep.
I always feel like you need like a 14-year-old.
I got
it.
There you go. There it is. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if I can have your attention, my name is Dan McCaffery. I'm the CEO of McCaffery Interests and a proud partner in this project with US Steel. As you all know, most of you know the history of this site better than I do, but it's a terrific transformation that we're going to see started and following up on the road and other things. But I do have a guest here with me today that I would like you to hear about 20-30 seconds from, is what he said, and that's Chris Mazzantonio from US Steel Pittsburgh, who flew in for this special occasion. Chris, are you? Here we are.
Thank you, Dan, and thank you, everybody, for being here today. It's really an important day for everyone involved. I want to thank Dan for being a great partner in development of this project. US Steel has a long history in the region. We're proud to be here today, and we're going to continue to help develop the site to any extent that we can. And I certainly want to thank the mayor and the governor and all the elected officials for being here today. So thank you very much.
So you know what this is about, right? You see this sign here? Mariano's. And it's a real, honest to God, it's a great achievement. It's a wonderful thing. There's been a lot of collaboration, and other things to bring Mariano's here, including Bob Mariano, the CEO of Mariano's. Bob?
Thank you, Dan, and Governor Quinn, Mayor Emanuel, Alderman Pope, and other distinguished guests who are with us today. We stand here today on a site that once employed 20 and was surrounded by a vibrant working-class community. There is a significant amount of history on this site and a great industrial heritage associated with it.
I learned a lot as a high school student working in a grocery store. You meet the public. You have to serve the public. And I want to say to these young kids here today, these young boys and girls, my heart is at your service, and we want to make sure you have a bright future, a safe future, a future free from violence, where you can live out your dreams. It's very important that all of us in Illinois commit ourselves to our young people and to all our people when it comes to their safety. And one of the very best ways to fight violence and crime is called a JOB. And that's what we're talking about here today. Creating jobs by building a grocery store, a community place, an anchor where people can come and shop. And our state worked with the city of Chicago to extend Lakeshore Drive, South Shore Drive, from 79th Street to 87th Street. We want to bring people here so they can work here, so they can shop here, so they can eat well here. And it's so important that Mariano's understands in the 21st century, it isn't like the grocery store that I worked at back in the 1960s. This is a 21st century grocery store. It's a place that is a community place that can hire these young boys and girls to have a job, that they can get a paycheck. and they can help their moms and dads who also can get jobs. It's so important that we as a community of Illinois, a family of Illinois, understand when something like violence afflicts our community, that we don't stand by, that we stand together and we work as hard as we can to fight the violence and build an economic development and job creation that can help the communities go forward in a safe and peaceful way. So that's why our state is investing in this excellent opportunity to create jobs, working with Mariano's here and in other places in the city and the suburbs, that we can have opportunity for all the people of Illinois. So if they're breathing right now, anybody breathing, we want you working, and we want you to be on our team to fight any kind of violence and protect public safety. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Governor. Those are very generous and very inspiring words. And now I turn to the alderman of the district, the 10th Ward, Alderman Pope. But I do have to acknowledge that we have an alderman also involved in this project, although not particularly in their ward. And that's Alderman Natasha Holmes. She has been very supportive. She and John Pope have just been terrific to work with. They answer every call. They're there every moment we need them. So you've got a great alderman here, Alderman Pope.
Thank you, Dan. It is wonderful to be here today at Lakeside to mark another chapter in the rebirth of this extraordinary site. While we all understand that this redevelopment is a lengthy one, I have to commend all the partners that have put real skin in the game to move this process forward swiftly. It was just 2 years ago that I joined Mayor Emanuel and others to begin the final phase of the extension of Lakeshore Drive. Just last October, Governor Quinn and again Mayor Emanuel, Dan McCaffery, others, and I opened up Lakeshore Drive. Governor, Mayor Emanuel, I and the entire Southeast Side are grateful for your sincere commitment to this project. And it's not just this project that we've had a commitment. Just down the street, we have $42 million going into new elementary school. Thank you again, Governor and Mayor. Not too farther down the street, another $153 million to improve the interchange at 130th and Torrance. And just behind us, we have a 100-acre park, renamed, dedicated this fall, Steelworkers Park, to commemorate the wonderful work that's been done here over the years. Today, that group and others are committed, serious, and are the less talk, more action type of attitude that we need to move these other projects forward. This opportunity to have a grocery store in one's neighborhood is something that's oftentimes taken for granted. The opportunity to have a grocery store, one like Mariano's, that provides top-of-the-line, fresh and healthy foods and over 400 jobs for local residents is spectacular. Bob, I know I speak for Mayor Emanuel and the Governor, but especially for the thousands of families here on the Southeast Side. And I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize the South Chicago YMCA Hoops in the Hood participants. If you can please stand up and be recognized. This project is for everyone, including these kids, who one day want to have the opportunity to eat fresh food, to not have to travel long distances to go grocery shopping, and one day to be the next Bob Mariano of Chicago. Again, for all the thousands of families, the kids who are represented here today, for the entire Southeast Side in the region, because this will truly be a regional draw, I thank everyone involved, and especially Bob Mariano.
Thank you, John. Every community needs leadership in the political level, and you also need grassroots leadership. Of course, one of your grassroots leaders is Dan Lira, the Executive Director of the South Chicago Chamber of Commerce, and it's my pleasure to introduce Dan to you now. Dan?
Good afternoon, Governor Quinn, Mayor Emanuel, 10th Ward Alderman John Pope, State Representative Sims, and Bob Mariano. Thank you again for coming out today. My name is Dan Lira. I am the Executive Director of the South Chicago Chamber of Commerce, as well as a lifelong South Chicago community resident. This is an exciting time for me and all the residents of South Chicago. Just 8 months ago, we celebrated as a community the opening of the South Lakeshore Drive, which meant for the first time the South Chicago community was able to see beyond the walls that separated the Bush neighborhood from the former U.S. Steel worksite. And today we are here for yet another milestone for the South Chicago neighborhood. The announcement of Mariano's coming to the South Chicago neighborhood as promised means a lot to this community, particularly for those that have waited so long for a full-service grocer with fresh fruits, vegetables, meats, a deli, and my personal favorite, a sushi bar. So on behalf of all the members of the South Chicago Chamber of Commerce and the commissioners of SSA 5, we welcome Mariano's on being the first anchor development on this site and the first of many more to come. For all the residents like myself that have been here for some time, it's a very exciting time because we have waited a long, long time for this day. This site has always been remembered as where our grandparents, our parents, and friends had all worked in the past to provide for their families. And now with the announcement of Mariano's and the addition of new jobs, this site will yet again provide the community the opportunity to provide for their families. Again, on behalf of the South Chicago Chamber and SSA 5, I would like to thank Governor Quinn, Mayor Emanuel, 10th Ward Alderman John Pope, and Dan McCaffery for their commitment in moving our community forward. And Mr. Mariano for being the first one to invest beyond the wall. Thank you.
That's very beyond the wall. That's great. You know, I will say I always believe I have a hard job and I do work hard. But then, you know, I had the pleasure of meeting and knowing Mayor Emanuel, and my God, I can't imagine things that this man has to do on a day-to-day basis, taking on unpopular things and really having to address problems all the time. But he's a guy that grabs opportunities too, and he's been a big help in grabbing this opportunity and getting Mariano's to this site. And so I want to thank him, and I want to introduce the mayor.
Thank you, Dan. First and foremost, I want to congratulate all the residents, because this is your day. You've been talking about the economic revitalization on the southeast side, and people literally not just a one wall off, but feeling cut off from all the opportunities and all the job opportunities and economic development that had to happen and should have happened. And the governor has been an incredible partner in making sure that we also, the city, gets the resources it needs to make sure that we get the investment we need to literally take that wall down and build up a community with the economic development. And as Alderman just talked about, Alderman Pope, not far from here is a new school going in. We just opened the new road. We have also a tremendous neighborhood group, an after-school program, not only with the YMCA, but with Sarah Ward's operation, the South Chicago Arts Center. And let's give Sarah a congratulations with that. Also, right down the road, beyond the park, we're also growing home. We'll be putting in urban agriculture capacity. And yes, and all the job opportunities, and all the opportunities to sell urban agriculture to a local store. And that is that no more is there a difference between big and small businesses. Growing Power will have the opportunity to have its products on the shelves at Mariano, reinforcing the economic development, job opportunity that you want to see. And the state has been an incredible partner in providing the economic opportunity and job and investments that we need, and making sure that we get the 400 jobs, not just with this store, but all the multiple jobs that will come in economic development, whether that's building a new school, opening a new road, having a new park, making sure our after-school programs get invested in, and literally the wall that used to exist here, and also in one's own mind, has now come down, and making sure that the neighborhood has all the economic opportunities. So Mariano's, and this site, is not an island. It is being reinforced with a series of other investments from our parks to our schools, our after-school programs, and the neighborhood is getting the type of investment and job opportunities that they have seen go somewhere else. They're going to participate. And plus, with every store, as Bob knows, because when we met about a year ago, I said, if you're going to come to the city of Chicago's grocery, you got to be in all parts of the city of Chicago. You just can't be in some parts of the city of Chicago. And to Bob Mariano's credit, he has lived up to that commitment. He's not only right now, and I was at the tent sponsoring at the Taste of Chicago, our celebrity chef tent. He is also sponsoring and funding when James Beard and the foundation brings in the culinary awards dinner worldwide. Mariano's is also sponsoring that event, so Chicago's culinary experience can actually, in our neighborhood restaurants as well as our other major chefs and restaurants, can all be highlighted here in the city of Chicago. Mariano's is a major player in the city of Chicago and helping fund that. So whether it's this store that we're opening, the stores throughout the city of Chicago, And as the governor and I have both noted, in a quick time, there's 12,000 people now in the Chicago area working for Mariano's. So building a road, opening a school, after-school programs, new parks, making the investment in the southeast side. So as the governor noted, and these young kids, yes, they're going to have the opportunity with a safe place to have a basketball court. We want them to also experience a neighborhood that has been revitalized. And as Jackie, who's also a sponsor for the kids, has showed me beforehand, she already has her Mariano's card. She's ready for this store. That's right, she's ready for her store, she's ready for her discounts, but she's most importantly, ready to show these kids a healthy way to live and see in their own neighborhood the economic opportunities and jobs that come. Yes, the store will be 400 jobs, but it's so much more than just these 400 jobs. It's a combination of all the other efforts of building up a neighborhood so it has the economic strength and the resilience that all of you have been asking for years. This is your day, and while we're all up here talking about it, I want to thank every one of you for being part of making this happen and never giving in, never giving up, saying that our neighborhood, our community can have the grocery stores, can have the new schools, can have the parks that our children, our families, and our community should enjoy. So to all of you, this is your day. Congratulations.
All right.
That's basically the wrap up. What more could you say that hasn't been said and said well? So thank you all very, very much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you all again at the ribbon cutting.